These are 13 things in the military that will break you emotionally if you're not ready for them, and none of them have to do with combat or deployments, so let's dig in. The first one is CIF. CIF is the Central Issue Facility. This is where you get all of your gear while serving in the military. So the way this works, or at least the way this worked for me, is you check into a unit, and one of the first things you do is you go get your CIF issue, and then you bring it back. And then when you leave your unit, you go turn in your CIF issue, and then you move to the next unit, and then you go get your CIF issue as part of check-in, and then you use your CIF issue, and then you check out, and you go turn in your CIF issue as part of your checkout. And the problem with this is, if you never use your CIF gear, it's not a big deal. You go get the stuff, you bring it back, you leave it in the bags, it's clean, it's wonderful, turn it in. As long as you didn't lose anything or get it dirty, you're good. The problem is if you actually use your gear. So if you're not a little pogie, right? And for anyone who's watching this who hasn't joined yet, pogue is personnel other than grunt, kind of a talk term that we use in the military. I was a pogue. I was a truck driver in the military, but I also worked with a lot of ground units. And so I did a lot of things that involved me getting my CIF dirty. And let me just paint some horror stories for you real quick. For example, this Kevlar that I wore in Afghanistan, I still have because of CIF. So I will now wear this while I talk about CIF because it's kind of ridiculous. But you can see like this thing, I even like spray painted a mohawk on it. Like this has been through the freaking ringer, and I've still got the goggles on it and all the things. Now, this was an Army issued Mitch helmet that I got in Afghanistan in 2010. Now I got this because when I got blown up in Afghanistan, in my truck, when I hit the, I don't even remember exactly what happened. It's kind of all fuzzy. But one way or another, I basically tore out some of the brackets on the inside. And so there was just no way to mount the straps anymore on this ridiculous helmet. And so I had a helmet. It got broken. I had to go turn it in. Now, they did not have the same helmet for me at the supply unit, whatever, on Camp Leatherneck, Afghanistan in 2010. So when I came back from Afghanistan, this is the one they had given me because the other one had broken. But then they're like, well, that's an Army Mitch helmet. We can't take that back. And I'm like, well, this is the one they issued me. And I had to go get like a missing gear statement from my entire command saying, yep, it was, or a damaged gear statement and a missing gear statement saying, yep, it was damaged. Yes, it was missing. This is what we replaced it with. And then ultimately, CIF still wouldn't take it back. And so the command had to pay for it. And then I'm like, well, what do I do with it now? And they're like, we don't care. So I still have the freaking helmet, right? That's like one example of like things just sometimes go wrong and you get stuck with gear because you had to go do all this stuff, jump through all these hoops because they wouldn't take it back. The more common thing is that you have to scrub the crap out of it because it got dirty, and then you go take it in and they're like, still dirty, and you're like, well, yeah, I wore it. And then you have to go clean it again. I had items in CIF that I probably had to take back and clean like 3 or 4 times before they would finally accept it. And sometimes those stains just don't come out, and then you got to go get a damaged gear statement from your command. The worst is blood. Like, this is the most ironic thing. Let's say you get shot or wounded or somehow bleed on your stuff. Or even, I don't want to say better because obviously this is not better, but like more ironic is like somebody else gets injured and you get their blood on your stuff because this is combat, right? Like stuff happens. Blood doesn't come out of anything. It's there. So now you got to go like try to clean it. It's not going to work. Try to clean it again. It's not going to work. Then you have to go to your command and be like, hey, remember when so-and-so got hurt and I like saved their life and they bled all over my crap? I need you to sign this thing saying that happened so that I don't have to pay $400 for this flak jacket because of a blood stain that doesn't actually matter at all. And it's not going to affect the use of the thing, but whatever. And then you have to go do paperwork and you have to route the paperwork from here to here to here. And then it's like this whole freaking crazy thing. And like, I'm telling you right now, anybody who ever served in a combat unit or on a deployment that hears the word CIF issue turn-in, they know what I'm talking about. And they probably heard me say that and they were like, oh, and probably got PTSD. So just know CIF turn-in sucks, and it is enough to break any grown man if you have to deal with it. Number 2 is field day inspections. Field day is when we go clean our room, and this just sometimes doesn't matter. Sometimes this becomes a power trip. And I mean, I've seen like white glove inspection where people are coming in and they're like, with a white glove, like the white glove for this uniform, and they're like, dust. Fail. You obviously didn't clean your room. Do the whole thing again. We'll come back in an hour. And like, this used to be an every Thursday night thing. I remember in Okinawa, Japan, we would just like get drunk and clean our rooms. And there were times I was like bleaching the floor. There were times I was like painting baseboards. Like, there's all kinds of crazy stuff just to be like, oh, we passed. Like, we used to have mold in one of the rooms in Japan, and we'd have to like bleach it, like paint over it, and be like, good. So like, field day can be a pain. Number 3 is hurry up and wait. This drives everybody nuts, but it's gonna happen. You are gonna show up incredibly early to things, and then you're just gonna have to wait. So like, someone tells you to be at the range at 4, so then you get at the range, you get told to be there at 3:45, then 3:30, you show up at like 3 a.m., and the freaking armory's not even open yet, so you're waiting around for the armory to open so you can get your gun, so then you can drive to the range to get there early, and the range isn't ready, so then you wait, and like, you're just gonna kill a bunch of time waiting. So like, my advice to you, during that time, find something productive to do. Maybe you bring a book with you. Maybe you have an audiobook on your phone. Maybe you, whatever that is, find something productive to do at that time because you know you'll be sitting around waiting. So do some personal development. Number 4 is mandatory fun day. These will happen depending on your unit. The funny thing is, like, you're literally getting paid to go to work for a day where the whole day is about like going and hanging out and drinking and having fun with your unit. And somehow they still turn into a drag because it's like forced, and they're just often not that much fun. And you're like, man, it would have been way cooler if they just gave us a budget and told us to go have fun with our buddies, right? Necessary evil. They can be a lot of fun. They can also be kind of a pain in the butt, but mandatory fun days exist. And for the most part, they're a good time. And you see some crazy but like, also you'd rather just be home hanging out with your boys than with the command, because you have to like behave around the command, and that's just not fun. Number 5 here is like the Chow Hall betrayal, which is you're off working and all your friends went to the Chow Hall without you and you got left. Or maybe they all went and got food and brought it back and you got left. And like, now you're just stuck there like, thanks a lot, guys. I was hungry. I would have loved to have eaten, but I guess like I'll go myself. So like, it happens. It is what it is. It's really not that big a deal, but it does annoy you when you're like, I'm the one out working, or I was driving the truck and I come back and like I freaking missed lunch, I missed the Chow Hall, and nobody thought to get me anything. So if you want to be a real homie, think of the person who's out on the road and bring them a go bag of food and then hook them up, and they will appreciate that very much. Number 6 is deployment return dates. You're going to think that you know when you're going home, and you're not really going to have any idea, and it's going to change, and then it's going to change again, and then you're going to get your hopes up, it's going to change, and then you're going to get your hopes up. Like, we originally thought when we were coming back from Afghanistan that it was going to be like maybe the end of November, maybe even by Thanksgiving, and then it ended up being like, I think mid-December sometime, and it was like maybe next week, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe tomorrow, maybe whatever. And then someday somebody's going to walk in and be like, hooray, grab your you're leaving in 6 hours, pack. And you're like, oh crap, and then that's it, right? And so like, they keep it kind of that way for OPSEC so that nobody knows what's going on. So you can't tell everyone like, hey, our plane is leaving at this time on this date. You know, be ready with a freaking missile. But it also just drives you nuts. The same thing happens on like runs. You'll go on like, sometimes this is like the most sadistic thing that happened to me in the Marine Corps was like, we'd go on like a 3-mile run. And if someone tells you you're going on a 4-mile run, you're like, whatever. But if someone tells you you're going on a 3-mile run, and then you run in through the barracks parking lot, and then they're like, we're just going to keep going and run an extra mile, that last mile in your head is really rough because you were prepared to leave. So it's like, you tell a service member, hey, we're going to be here until January, and they're like, okay, cool, I'll deal with that. But if you tell them we're leaving the first week of December, never mind the second week of December, never mind the third week of December, like that mental game will eat at you, and that's just unfortunately what happens a lot of times. Number 7, this is a goofy one, but like fake beer on deployment. I never understood this. Like in Afghanistan, we had these freaking O'Douls in the Chow Hall, and they were gross, and like people would drink them just to like enjoy the taste of beer, and I'm like, why? Like nobody, like at least me, I don't like beer enough to drink it without the alcohol. But that's a whole thing, because they're like, oh, people love beer, so we'll put it in the friggin' Chow Hall. And then you're like, why am I drinking beer that's not beer just for the taste of beer? Like, I don't understand the whole 0% alcohol beer. Beer is not that good. Drink a freaking root beer. Number 8 is military bathroom toilet paper. You think crappy hotel single ply is bad? Wait till you see military issued toilet paper. Here's the funny thing. The way the budgets work in the government and the military, every year towards the end of the year, they're like, we have all this money left over. We have to spend it on things. And so they do, because if you don't spend it, you lose it. It's kind of like the rule of thumb, right? It's a terrible way to budget, but that's just the way it is. And for some reason, toilet paper never makes it into that budget. So we buy the cheapest freaking toilet paper all year round. And you could like fold that shit up like 3 or 4 times, and your finger is still going to freaking go right through the freaking paper. And you're going to be pissed. And it's going to happen. And the toilet paper is just awful. And this is like the pettiest thing to be upset about. But like, come on, guys. We can't afford normal freaking toilet paper. What are we doing? Number 9 is, and I've talked about this before, going home on leave. You go all the way home. You take, like when I lived in Okinawa, Japan, it's like I'd fly from Okinawa, Japan to Tokyo to Seattle, from Seattle to either, Denver or Dallas, and then into Little Rock, Arkansas was where I was from at the time. And so you fly like 15, 20 hours home, thousands of miles. And then your friends are like, yo, I'm 40 minutes away. Come hang. And you're like, come to me. Like, I just spent 20 hours coming home. The least you could do is make it easy to see me or easy to see you. Like, come hang out. And so, like, I used to just say, hey, I'm going to be at this restaurant for 5 hours on this day. Come hang. And if you don't come hang, then, like, it is what it is. Because I realized, like, all my friends, like, you come all the way home and they're like, oh, I'm busy. Come see me. And you're like, dude, I just spent all this money to fly across the world to come home and you can't make a little effort. And that is honestly one of the fastest ways that you're going to like start to kind of disassociate with old high school friends, because you're going to be like, this joker just does not care about me and it just sucks. So like going home on leave can be a little irritating. Plus, the weirdest thing will happen, at least for me when I was in the Marine Corps, is after a little bit of time in the service, I would start getting homesick from my unit, from my dudes, from my peoples, from the Marines. Because that becomes home. That becomes the norm. You get so tied into the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, the culture, at least for me, that like going home started to feel less like homesick. Like I started to get less homesick from home and more homesick from the Marines and the Marine Corps. And I don't know if that's everyone, but I've heard a lot of people talk about that. It's an interesting thing because that becomes kind of your family, or actually your family. And so going home on leave can over time just start to lose its luster. This isn't just some dumb self-help book. This is everything I wish I'd known when I first joined the military. So scan the code, click the link in the description, download it for free today, and get yourself on the right path. Number 10 is staff duty, right? This could be barracks duty, this could be officer of the day, this could be assistant officer of the day. There's all kinds of names for this, but duty is like 24 hours of bull. Like, it's watching paint dry. It's sitting there hoping the phone doesn't ring, or hoping the phone does ring because you're bored out of your mind, reading a freaking book. Actually, I was on a post once where the command wouldn't let you read books. I thought that was ridiculous. I'm like, I'm supposed to sit here for 24 hours on phone watch and not read a book. There's no TV. I can't have my phone. And so like, you don't want me even reading a book? And so that was one I was okay. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Punish me. I'm going to read a commandant's reading list book. And if that gets me in trouble, so be it. I'll have that conversation with the command. Like, I'll stand up for that. But, like, you be on duty for 24 hours waiting on, like, maybe a phone call about someone getting a DUI and you got to go get them out of the drunk tank. But usually it's like, oh, hey, I locked myself out of my room. Do you have the master key? And you're like, sure, let me come let you in your room. Please confirm this is your room. Great. Let me log it in. Knucklehead locked himself out of his room and I let him in. Like 95, 99% of the time, being on duty is boring, monotonous crap. And I get it. It's a necessary evil, but it sucks. And often on your way into or out of a unit, you'll find yourself on duty, on holidays, and that just sucks. Number 11, motor pool Mondays. We used to do this every freaking morning in the motor pool, was start up all the trucks. And then on Mondays, it was like, come inspect the trucks. So if you were motor T, you would like morning startups. Every day you fire up all the trucks, let them run for 5-10 minutes, check all their fluids, make sure they're good, shut them down. PMCS, we call it, like preventative maintenance checks and services. And then on the Monday or Tuesday, like one day a week, every group who like had Humvees or 7 tons or whatever those trucks were that they used would have to come in and do actual maintenance. So you have like weekly and monthly checks that you have to do. Again, PMCS, that you have to do to maintain the vehicles. And the problem with this isn't actually the maintaining vehicles. It's the fact that it's treated as though if you don't find something wrong, you obviously didn't look hard enough. And the best case in point of how I can prove to you that this is just absolutely ridiculous sometimes is we once got a couple of 7 tons delivered. Fun fact, when they got delivered, they were on flatbed trucks, and actually one of them crushed. My foot got trapped under the flatbed when they were lowering it, and I had to get a steel toe boot like cut off my freaking foot and like crush part of my foot. And luckily, the steel toe was there, or it would have been really bad. That's neither here nor there. So then these same trucks, it's like 3, 4, 5 new trucks, new 7 tons, brand new. Like I'm talking less than 50 miles on them, from Oshkosh, never been driven, show up. And so we go and we check them. And we're like, do the whole thing, and we're like, these things are good. Nothing's wrong with them. And so we get told, something's got to be wrong with them. Something's always wrong with everything. You obviously didn't check hard enough. And I'm like, they're brand new. Go check them again. And like, that was kind of I remember, don't come at me, bro. It is what it is. I distinctly remember at one point getting so fed up with getting told like 3 different times that something has to be wrong or I'm not doing my job that I went out, took my elbow and smashed a reflector on the side of the 7-ton. It was like, cracked reflector. Found something. Like, that's how dumb this gets. Because these are brand new trucks. And now we have a cracked reflector, which doesn't actually do anything to the truck. But like, the things that we write down are like hoses sun-dried, paint chipped. Cracked reflectors were pretty common. I wonder why. So just know, like, that gets a little annoying sometimes. Number 12 here is getting voluntold. Is not volunteering. This is the like, hey, I need 3 volunteers. For what, Staff Sergeant? I need 2 volunteers. You just volunteered yourself. Voluntold is where they're like, you're going to go take out the trash. Thank you for volunteering. You're going to go stand duty. Thank you for volunteering. You're going to go do this thing. Thank you for volunteering. It's just what happens. We call it voluntold. It is what it is. Number 13 here is that people are instantly going to know you're military. Like, you just stand out. It's actually pretty funny. Here's the best case in point. I was in Spain last summer. I went to Pamplona, which, if anyone knows, is where you do the running of the bulls. So we go do the running of the bulls. And then that evening we go to watch the bullfights. And I'm sitting there and this gentleman sits next to me and he's got a haircut, like a low fade, like normal military haircut. And he's clearly American. So he asked me where I'm from. We talked for like 2 seconds. And then he's like, oh yeah, I live in Southern California. And I looked at him and I was like, Marine? And he's like, is it that obvious? I was like, Camp Pendleton, Southern California, low haircut. I was in the Marine Corps for 13 years. So we just start talking. Sure, he was in the Marine Corps. I'm pretty sure he did not tell anybody in his chain of command that his leave to Spain involved him running the bulls, because I can't imagine that his first sergeant would have signed off on running with bulls in Spain on leave. That's neither here nor there. Marine Corps infantry kid, spirit animal, right? We get it. But like, you're going to have to get used to the fact that you're going to get just spotted in a crowd. People can tell when you're in the service. Marines, I say especially because that, my experience was I was always spotted as being a Marine. There's something about the haircuts and the way we carry ourselves, whatever, but like every branch of service has that. It might be a little bit different for females because you can still blend in, like you can still have long hair, you can still, kind of blend in normally. But like guys, when you have that high fade, medium fade, low fade haircut, and maybe that stupid in rags mustache, which by the way, I had that mustache long before it was even cool in the military. People are going to spot you, and you're going to have to get used to the fact that like people know you're military. So you're going to have to be on decent behavior out in public, because it's going to come back. Like, people know who you are. So if you get in trouble, it's not going to be like Dave got in trouble. It's going to be Marine got in trouble. Like, so behave. The funny thing is that all this crap that drove us crazy in the military is the stuff we laugh about now. Like SIF issue. I promise you, I've had conversations joking about that crap with people after the service, right? It is what it is. And yet at the end of the day, every veteran who's watching this, you all know you'd do it again. There are things that you're like, oh my God, but you'd sign up. You would do it again. Like, none of this is really outweighs the pros of joining the military. But these are some of the things that drove us nuts while serving. So it is what it is. If some of these resonated with you, welcome, fellow veteran. If these are new to you, probably thinking about joining the service, you'll understand these soon enough. What did I miss though? I know that there's other stuff that I didn't include in this list that I would just look at your comment and be like, oh my gosh, how did I miss that? They're right. What did I miss? Comment down below if you were a veteran, like what things drove you just freaking nuts in the military that you laugh about now?